Hey folks, welcome back to the Leeds Gamer. I just wanted to do a quick video about the 6 players that are currently unavailable for Leeds and just have a little talk about how damaging this could be to Leeds United in relation to the remainder of the season. It's quite shocking when you think that just a couple of games ago we had no players unavailable at all. They were all fit, or at least available for selection. And then there was obviously that one game where we had Gary unavailable for that red card that shouldn't have been a red card. But again, every other player was available for selection. It just feels like it's hit us really hard, really quick. And obviously, 2 of these injuries were definitely picked up in the match against West Ham in the Cup. Some fans have said, well, why play such important players in a cup match when we need them for the league? I mean, in an ideal situation, you play your strongest lineup for every single game of the season, regardless of competition. But we know it doesn't work that way, and we know that it is a squad game. Just a shame that Daniel Farke sometimes is maybe a little too heavily reliant on certain players. And it is a fine balance. It's a fine balance between choosing a side that's going to be good enough to win a cup match and one where if you do pick up injuries in it, it's not going to be too detrimental to the squad. And don't get me wrong, that feeling that I got when we beat West Ham in the cup to get to the semi-final felt really damn good, albeit exhausting. I was knackered after that, after witnessing that. Yeah, what a bonkers match. I probably wouldn't have felt as exhausted if we'd have simply won it in 90 minutes. But Leeds do these things in a very Leedsy way, don't they? So, yeah, that's that on that one, I guess. So, going on to the main topic of this video, how damaging is it to have 6 injuries for Leeds United? Well, as we all know, it's a 25-man squad, and has been the same all season bar one player. That was Jack Harrison going in January and being replaced by Facundo Bonanelli. So, we know that the other 24 players have basically been available for Leeds United in some capacity at some stage throughout this season. But here's the situation. We have got a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 2 cup games remaining. And we definitely have another 7 games remaining in the Premier League. Sorry, just had a mental block there for a moment. So these injuries couldn't have come at much of a worse time. So let's just go through them and let's just kind of judge the importance of how damaging, or maybe not so damaging, that each of these could be. So I've got this little screenshot here off the website premierinjuries.com. It's usually quite good, and it's been updated as of today, so obviously updated after getting the information from Daniel Farke's press conference. So, starting at the top, Anton Stagg. Now, Anton has already posted pictures of what his ankle looks like, and as I've said in one of my previous videos, I suffered the exact same injury when we did 5-a-side football in a warm-up in a taekwondo class, and we trained on a padded floor, and as I was going in for I was going in to tackle one of my opposing players, and my left foot got stuck in the mat, and as I turned to go in for the tackle, it basically tore my tendons and ligaments in the ankle. And then 6 months later, we did the exact same warm up. I played on the other side of the room because I wasn't going to damage the same ankle, and I ended up doing the exact same injury on the other foot, on the other ankle. So it kept me out of commission for a year, because Taekwondo is a kicking martial art, and for the first month, it was incredibly painful and incredibly swollen. Now, obviously, the difference between me and Anton Stark is that Anton is obviously going to get professional treatment, by some of the best medical team in the country. I wasn't that lucky. I had to just kind of ride it out. So I know how incredibly painful that was, and that picture of Anton's ankle literally swelling up almost like an inflated golf ball almost. It was, my ankles looked identical. It was exactly the same, just right out there, and incredibly painful to walk on. I know you walk on your feet, but the pain goes right through your ankle. So, with this in mind, it says here, and this is a quote from Daniel Farke's press conference, not the best news. Anton will definitely miss the game on Monday. Ankle injury after the cup game. Normally you'd say it's not realistic that they were able to help us in April, but of course the medical department are trying everything. So the potential return date has been set to the 1st of May, which is dreadful, because that takes him out for 3 weeks, which is the majority of the remaining games. And bearing in mind that, he could return on the 1st of May, but it doesn't mean he's going to be fully fit by 1st of May. So it's a huge loss. Anton Stark has been excellent this season. He's chipped in with both goals and assists. He's one of our best set piece takers. He's a man mountain in the midfield, isn't he? He's 6'4" tall and has a very complete game as a midfielder. So this is a massive loss. I mean, we've got good depth in midfield in the squad. Obviously, we've got Ampadu, Gruev, Tanaka and Longstaff. So we've got enough central midfielders to kind of, compensate. And then obviously Aronson, who is more of an ACM / winger. So there's probably enough cover, but just the quality that Stack's brought to the team this season, that for me is a huge loss. And I just hope that we've got the quality to back him up, which I think we probably do. But you still feel it. When you lose one of your best players for a period of time, you always feel it. Joe Rodon. It's another bad one. Ankle / foot injury, same as Anton. Joe will miss the game, also an ankle injury. It's difficult to say with a ligament injury, but of course the medical department are trying everything. At this moment it's realistic to say that we'll see them back in May. So it looks as if Joe's got a similar kind of injury to Anton. I find it very difficult to see either of them coming back in April at all. You've got to get the swelling down. You've got to allow time for the tendons and ligaments to heal and to connect up again. They're nasty. Those kind of injuries are nasty. So we'll just have to see, but it's 2 big losses now. Here's the big difference between Stack and Rodon. We don't have as much defensive cover. Now, one option that we have is that Ethan Ampadu can drop back from midfield into defence. Another one is that James Justin can drop in from wing back to centre back. And then we've got a natural centre back replacement in Sebastian Bornau. So there is a little bit of cover there, but it means you're then sacrificing certain other positions. Certainly with 2 of those options, you're sacrificing them from their natural position into their secondary position, which isn't necessarily a good thing whatsoever. So they're absolutely massive losses. And again, the aerial threat that you get from Anton Stack and Joe Rodon as well, the two players comfortably over 6 foot. They bring a lot of height and physicality to the team. Ampadu's not as tall. Justin's not as tall. Bornau's a big boy. We won't lose any height if Seb Bornau comes into it. He's almost as tall as the others. We'll just have to see on that. Dan James, I don't think so. He's the other one that's completely ruled out. I don't see this as being as big a loss as Anton Stack or Joe Rodon, purely because he's been injured for so much of the season already anyway. And the current system doesn't usually play with wingers. He does bring that raw, natural pace, which is an absolute menace for opposition defence. But we've hardly been able to use it anyway because he's spent so much of the season injured. The description here says Daniel will also miss the game, so he had sadly an adductor strain just in the session before the cup game and won't be available. So it's a different injury for Dan. And I feel sorry for Dan because he's just not been able to be part of what has, for a lot of the season has been a good season. And he's just not had the opportunity to sorry, my cat Kirby's got hold of one of the cat toys. She goes mental for it. I don't think Dan James will be as much of a miss. It would have been to have a fit Dan James this season would have been really interesting to see how he could have affected the game for Leeds throughout the season. We've just not had that opportunity to see it, which has been a big shame. So I do feel sorry for him in that respect. And then the 3 that are classed as late fitness tests. Now, I honestly don't think that any of these 3 will make it for the manure game. I really don't. And it might be best in a way that maybe those 3 do miss the manure match, so that they can get fully fit for the match after, if at all possible. Because if we have Noah Okafor, Jakobiol and Gabby Gudmundsson available for the matches after the manure game, so games against teams like Wolves and Burnley, for example, which are probably the 2 matches in particular that we really have a chance of getting wins in, and if we do get wins in both of those games, we probably stay up. So I would consider, if I was the manager, really depends on what Henry McStay and the rest of the medical department tell me if I was the Leeds manager. But I'd be thinking, as much as we need, the whole squad available, especially against opposition like Manure, and especially with the fact that they're one of our biggest, most hated rivals. We've got to protect these players to an extent, because if we play them and they're still partially injured, what if they get another injury that then keeps them out for another 6 months? You run too much of a risk with that. And some of the players on this list are too crucial. They're too crucial to lose long term. So on to these 3 that are, the top 3 there that we've just talked about, they're ruled out completely. It does say Dan James might return around the 22nd of April, so he's going to be about a week earlier, roughly, than Anton and Joe. So, we'll see what happens with EJ there, and hopefully he comes back, relatively soon. His injury is different as well. It's a groin, hip, or pelvic injury. That could be also very painful, which again, ironically, I've actually gone through a similar pain in the past on the basis that I had an infected lymph node removed from just above my groin. I can only imagine it's probably something very similar. Initially, the doctors, when I got looked at, thought it was a sports hernia. and in the end it wasn't. So they had to do surgery and remove it, and I was in a lot of pain for a while thereafter. But as I mentioned about Anton and Joe, Dan will be getting, the best professional medical treatment available, whereas I have to go to the local GP and local hospital. So there you go. So with Noah, it's a lower back injury. Noah today, not in team training, is struggling with some back problems. Also, a question mark behind his availability. We have a bit more time, and I am hopeful that I have all three of them also ready. So he's talking about the three that are currently doubts, and that will be down to late fitness tests. Noah's shown in glimpses of how good he can be. We don't play with wingers, but he can be a very effective player. So it would be good to have him available in some capacity. Jakobiol, it says other injury. So it's just been said as a knock. So Yaka is currently struggling with a knock. He was not in team training yet this week. If you would play the game tomorrow, then he would not be available. We have a bit more time, and I am hopeful that I have all three of them also ready. Yeah, so again, late fitness test and 13th of April, just like Noah, is the believed return date. And then Gabby Goodmanson, who, Gabby's such an important player for us. He's been a superb signing. Just such a good all-round left back, wing back. He's got a little bit of everything for that role. He's got the same kind of thing as Dan James. So he's got groin, hip, pelvic injury. Gabby has made some progress. He came back with some light groin problems after the international games, so he is making light progress. We have a bit more time, and I am hopeful that I have all three of them also ready. I mean, out of those 6, 4 of them are absolutely crucial in Anton, Joe, Yaka, and Gabby. Noah slightly less so, and Dan slightly less so again. But when you've got a squad of 25 players and you take 6 of them out of the equation, your options are so limited. They really are. So it's a worry. I want these guys back. I want them fit and available in the squad. We need them. So how damaging is it potentially for Leeds? Well, I mean, I was kind of thinking that with a fully fit squad, we might have had a slight chance of beating Manure. With these injuries, I would take a draw right now. And if we lose, just don't get hammered. But then, as I say, the 2 key games for Leeds United this season that's remaining is the games against Wolves and Burnley, because those are the 2 ones that we've got the best chance of winning. And if we can get wins in those 2 games, that gives us 39 points. That means then that realistically we only need 1 more draw. That'll give us 40 points, and at that point I think we're safe. I'd be amazed if we went down, if we got relegated with 40 points or more. I really would. So yeah, I think we have just about enough cover, but we're gonna have to get a little bit creative in terms of who plays. The likes of Tanaka, Longstaff, Gruev, Byram, Justin, Bornow, these kind of players that haven't always, Metcha maybe as well, you could include in that list. These are players that haven't always featured. Well, you might need them now. You might need them now because You know, even Buonanotte, who, you know, Daniel Farker has said is getting close to the squad now. I think even Buonanotte starts to make some benches in the next couple of games. You know, if we don't get some of these boys back fit soon. So yeah, I'll leave it there, folks. Let me know, how damaging do you think these injuries are going to be for Leeds? I think we can still get through it, but it does make the job tougher. There's no doubt about it. Do please give a like and a hype to the video. Do please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do also please hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And also, if you're either a Leeds United fan or you're a football fan in general, if you'd like to join me on the Leeds Gamer channel for the podcast, and we'll have a chat about football and about Leeds United, then please let me know and we'll get something sorted. But in the meantime, have a good one, folks. See you next time. Bye for now.